are destroying the community. I mean, it's quite simple. When you have the highest single mom rate compared to every single nation by like 30 to 50%, then we have to really take a look at who is the issue. What is actually the issue? Because when we take a look at other communities, when we take a look at other nations, their single mom rate is nowhere nearly as high as BLK Fefails. So there's quite a consistent state that BLK Fefails have when it comes to opening their legs. Because that's really what the consistency is that a lot of these BLK Fefails really actually don't have any standards for themselves. See, they will prioritize everything else other than the man that they lay in bed with. It's interesting that Fefails know about their degrees, know about their fashion, know how to sew and weave, but somehow when it comes to prioritizing the man that you actually want to be intimate with, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's be honest, BLK Fefails don't care about vetting a good man. That's really what it is. They don't care about vetting a good man. They don't care about even looking to get married. What BLK, you see, a lot of these single moms, what they cared about was experience. That's what you hear with a lot of these BLK Fefails. You need to have experience to know who's the good man. You need to date around to know what's your type. You need experience. These are the same experience that made a man bust inside her and now she's popping out babies. These are the same experiences that they are using in the bedroom where the man is just chasing a nut but never looking to marry her. That's where a lot of these Fefails mentality really stems from. They love the experience with the man that they want. But they won't love to try and get married. They won't love to actually raise higher standards for themselves. They won't love to be feminine. So what does that tell you about these BLK Fefails? And what do they actually prioritize? You know, yesterday I was on Boy Wonders Live and I was talking to a Fefail. And, you know, she was saying that the benefit of getting your cheeks clapped is worth the sacrifice of being a single mom. And that's the state of these BLK Fefails. Because we asked her, would a BLK Fefail walk down the alleyway by herself, or would she use a different corner, a different street to get home? They wouldn't walk down the alleyway. So if you know that it's unsafe to walk down the alleyway, why don't you use the same precaution when it comes to spreading your legs open? Welcome, baby girl. Can you please address the prompt?
Hi, Miss Remy. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing excellent. Single moms are destroying the Black community. Absolutely, they are. These single moms are literally raising the majority of the Black
Say
men
be
who are
okay,
being
please.
incarcerated.
Say be okay, please.
I'm sorry, my love.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, baby. These BLK women are raising the majority of the BLK men who are incarcerated, who are in these, pew-pewings and the gang banging and the
Don't say that word. I might have to cut
I
you
am so
short because you're not using TikTok friendly language, but I will let you just quickly now because I'm looking for an opposition. Is there anywhere you disagree?
I'm sorry, love. I don't disagree with you at all.
Okay, then. So I will have to drop you. But thank you anyways. I do appreciate your support. If there's more, if I'm letting more than one panelist, then I'll definitely let you come up. But thank you anyways. And it's interesting what she said, that a lot of these Fefails who are raising their pitneys are the ones who end up being criminals, are the ones who end up being incarcerated. And a lot of people like to overlook that. A lot of these Fefails love to overlook the state of their children and the outcome that they usually end up in. See, you can't ignore that. You can't look past the fact that a lot of these single moms pitneys come out to be society's villain. But why is it that within the BLK community, a lot of these Fefails never actually want to admit that, never actually want to look at that and say, you know what, there's a problem. You clearly have a problem with living up to real standards. That's the problem. The problem is a lot of you BLK Fefails, you value degeneracy. That's the real problem. And they are fine with destroying everything around it. They're fine destroying the community because how they see it, they're getting their cheeks clapped. And a lot of these Fefails, they love to blame the men. Well, the man did this, the man is like this, the man A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But are you not the same Fefail that laid down with that same man that now you're complaining with? Are you not the same Fefail who laid down with that man? How could you have so much to say about the man that you chose to let bust inside you? Let's really think about that. So now you realize this man is trash, this man is manipulative, all these things. I don't think, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I only believe them about 30 to 20%. Because the reality is you knew who this man was. See, a lot of BLK Fefails won't tell you that. They won't tell you, I knew exactly who this man was. And I was just as problematic as him. And that's why we were in this situation, in this relationship, or whatever it is. These BLK Fefails are just as problematic as the men that they sleep with. But because they don't want to actually be seen as a problem, they want to blame men. BLK Fefails never actually just want to take a look at the fact that you are just as much as trash as the man that you let bust inside you. I don't believe the man did a 360. The man was a magician. The man transformed like a transformer. I don't believe that. This is not Batman we're talking about. Okay? This is a human being who has flaws, who has imperfections. There's no way a man can play perfect. So cut the crap. You knew his red flags and you liked it. And when you ask these Fefails, what did you find attractive about this man? They won't tell you much. You ask these baby mamas, these single moms, these BLK Fefails, what did you find attractive about this man? They won't actually tell you anything about his characteristics, anything about his culture, his mindset. They will tell you the most basic attributions about him, like his looks or how he made her feel. See, that's what, block. Please do. Yes. Because that's what you Fefails do. You block the truth. That's why you're all degenerate. You block the truth, but you won't block the D. You will block the truth, but you won't block the man that wants to clap your cheeks. When was the last time you blocked Tyrone? When was the last time you blocked Chad? When was the last time you blocked the man that clapped your cheeks and left you in the streets? That's what I want to know. When was the last time you blocked the guy that bust inside you? They want to block me, but why are you not blocking the man that left you in the streets? It is not making sense. And they wonder why they become single moms. You can't help but block everything else other than the problems. You don't want to block the man that wants to bust inside you. But you want to block the truth. It's easier to block the truth, but you won't block the guy that makes you into a booty call. You won't block the guy that only calls you at 3 a.m. in the morning and drives to pick you up just to clap your cheeks. Make it make sense. And you wonder why I say that a lot of these Fefails, these single moms, are destroying the BLK community? Is it not obvious? Is it not clear as day they are the ones destroying it? Because all of the men that you BLK Fefails complain about were raised by a single mom. Really think about that. All the men that you Fefails complain about was raised by a single mom. All the men that, even the ones that DV, AB, all of the nasty criminals, where do you think they came from? Do you really believe they came from a 2-parent household? Do you really think that? See, a lot of you BLK Fefails don't really actually want to admit that you are also the problem. The same men that you complain about doing all these things to women was raised by a woman. Okay? They were raised by another hyena like you. And she was just as reckless. She was just as much in the streets. And that's why he's reckless and he's in the streets. Why don't you tell these Fefails to stop spreading their legs open and raising degenerates? Welcome, Naomi. Can you please address the prompt?
Single moms are destroying the Black community.
What do you agree, disagree, and please say be okay.
BLK. Oh, sorry. BLK. When you mean by BLK, do you mean like African community or
Be okay in the US and in the UK. So you can
both
say the
African and
AF, the
African American?
Caribbean, the Americans, all of them.
Oh, okay. No, in America we differentiate. So
Yeah, I know. I know that. But guess what? The stats don't differentiate. So
they don't, right?
no, they don't.
Yeah. It is. I agree.
So you agree that single moms are destroying the BLK community?
Yeah, but some of them are not. They're only single. Maybe some of them, their husband has passed away. So.
Yeah, no, I don't include them.
Oh,
Okay
okay.
then. Yeah, no, I don't include any widows or anyone that's been a victim. Okay then, Naomi. Thank you for
Thanks.
joining me. I'm looking for oppositions. But yeah, thank you anyways. Savage, welcome. Can you please address the prompt?
Yes, single moms are destroying the Black community. I disagree.
Okay. From here on, please say be okay, but why?
Why do I think they're not destroying the community? Because there are very great men who came from single mothers. And we do not know their situation. To be calling a baby a degenerate. They're children. They're not a pet. They're not a pair of shoes. They are children, human beings, many human beings. And unfortunately, sometimes, based on this economy, it is difficult to raise a child. You can't stop people from having sex. That's just not going to happen.
Say smacks, please. Smacks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Smacks. You can't stop it. What we can do is try to educate young women.
Okay, so I have a
That's what we
question.
need to do is educate our young women.
Okay, trust me, people have been educating these degenerates for a very long time. So we're way past education, okay? Education is free in Western society. So trust me, there's enough education out there. But I have a question for you. So you
Not
said
in
that
every area.
No. In Western society, there's education, okay? Education in Western society is free. Education is free in the UK and in the US, okay? You can literally go to the library and read books for free. Knowledge is so free to get right now. It's so education is not the problem. But I have a question. You said that there's some great men that were raised by single moms. Is that the majority?
It doesn't matter whether or not it's a
No,
majority.
that's not the question. I'm asking you a question. If it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter to you, but that's not the question. The question is that the majority? A majority of these men that are raised in single mom households coming out to be good men?
I know. Yes, they are.
Majority
agree.
come out to be good men. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's
Because
completely false.
what you're not seeing is the society that they grow up in.
So then majority don't come out as good men. If you're contradicting yourself, which one is it? So they come out in a bad society, but they come out to be good men. Which one is that? That's contradicting your own point.
They do what they need to do to get out. Whether it be rap music or whatever they need to do, they do what they do to get out.
You know, but that is so. If they choose to do, I'm not being funny, but if they choose to do rap music, do you know that's also destroying the BLK community?
It's not.
It's not. So you're telling me men that say, hey, I like 304s, I like to pew pew, you know, I hit the club and I shoot them. I don't want to say that word. So you're telling me all of these messages that are being pushed in these rap music is not ruining the community?
No, I don't think so. Because it's just music. It's music. And there's different types of music. It is music. I can go to hard rock when they're talking about everything else. So what you see on TV is not real life, and you have to understand there's more to just single mothers destroying their community. It is
Okay, that is actually a complete lie, because rap music actually hold on. When the young generation listen to hip hop and rap, the rates of justified violence themes begins to increase. So the more the young generation actually listen to rap music, is the more likely they're going to actually be violent.
That's not true.
That's actually very true.
Because
There also another thing as well. The greater exposure to rap music videos, independently predicted 3 times more likely to hit a teacher, 2 times more likely to be arrested, 2 times more likely to have multiple sexual partners, and more likely to acquire sexually transmitted diseases. Does that sound like rap music is helping the community?
But does that sound like that all comes from a single parent home?
Well, from what you're saying, you said that they're doing everything to leave the situation, and they will maybe hold on. You said, I asked you a simple question. This is how this conversation started. I asked you, hey, so do you think majority of them are good men? And you said, yes, they are. I said, that's a lie. When you said no, because it's their environment. So they will do anything to try and get out, like pursue rap. But I said, pursuing rap is also the reason why the community is the way it is. And a lot of these rappers are raised by single mom households. And if you take a look at the effects rap music is doing to the young generation, does it really sound like success?
Well, then that means the younger generation parents aren't doing their job.
It's not about the younger generation. A lot of these single moms are 30s and 40s as well.
Okay, so in the Western world here, there is so much that goes into living, how you live. And they put these young men in what is was considered, if you look at it from the sky, it looks like the penitentiary. Those guys are there to try to survive. They did not start this. They're trying to
So
survive.
they don't come out to be good men then. That's the reality is. The reality is
But
they're more likely to be criminals. They're more likely to produce degenerate music. They're more likely to destroy young women and young men as well because they were raised by a single mom.
and they are highly policed. Do you know that
Say BLK.
black men has the
Say
greatest.
BLK, savage.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I apologize. BLK men have the greatest exoneration rate in the Western world.
Yeah, we know that. And majority of them were raised by single moms. We know that. That's the issue. The issue is a lot of single moms are birthing criminals for sons that don't even know what it means to live like a civilized human. That's the problem. A lot of them are raising criminals.
So what do you say about a young man that unalives his whole family? What is that? With the parent in the house, both parents in the house.
That's not the majority. That's why this prompt exists. I'm not saying that these things never happens. I'm not saying that a two-parent can't be able to raise a degenerate once in a while. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, majority of criminals, majority of young men who are incarcerated were raised by single moms. Majority were. Majority that were exposed, that were even exposed to AB, maltreated, neglection, were raised by single moms. And it also says here that 2.7 million children have at least a father who is incarcerated. So a lot of these young men fathers were criminals too.
It's really deeper than that. I can't explain it to you, but it really, you need to go back, do a history lesson
No,
on
we
the
don't need to
Western
do a
world.
history lesson. We've been doing history lessons for years now, okay? And nothing's changing. What, is history gonna change anything? How many of you Fefails love to come on this live and give me a history lesson, but you're never giving us a solution?
I'm not giving you a history lesson.
No,
I
you
can
want
give-
me. You no, I
I
don't.
can
No,
give you
you're
a
not understanding what I'm
solution.
saying. You want me to look up history, but history is not why they're opening their legs today.
I can give you a history lesson.
I don't want a history lesson from you. I want you to
No,
prove
I
me
mean, not
wrong
a
how
history
single
lesson.
moms
I'm
are.
sorry, not a history lesson. But what I can tell you is all the funds in their neighborhoods have been taken away and given to other communities. So they don't have anything to do. They don't have much to do. Bring the funds back into their community.
No, that's no. I completely
You
disagree
have
with
to
that. No one
keep
should be funding
children
single moms.
busy.
Why don't you tell them to stop opening their legs? What, you want people to fund
Because you
single
can't tell
moms?
somebody to stop
No.
having.
No,
You
no,
can't
no,
tell
no, no.
somebody to stop having smacks.
No, you can tell
can't.
someone to have better standards for themselves. That's the point. You can go ahead and be promiscuous, be a 3 or 4 as much as you want, but don't expect people to fund your degeneracy. So you want people to fund single moms so they can continue doing what they're doing,
No,
right?
we're not funding single moms. We're funding the neighborhood so the children will have something to do. We're not funding single moms. That's not what I'm saying. We're giving the children something to do besides
Babe,
just sit around, gang bang,
don't use
and
that
whatever it
word.
is.
Don't use that word.
Oh Lord, I'm so sorry. I'm
So this is it, right? So this is my point. Is funding those places. I understand what you're saying, but funding those places doesn't stop broken homes being created. That's the point. So saying, hey, let's give this place a new youth center, a better school, all these things. That doesn't stop women from opening their legs and letting the wrong man bust inside them. That doesn't stop that reality. Do you understand?
So it's just on the women.
Well, they're the ones who are creating broken homes.
Women. Well, what about the men that are leaving?
If this man is not your husband, then why are you opening your legs to him?
He doesn't have to be. You don't have to be a husband to be there for your child.
It's not that you don't have to be a husband to be there for your child, but what it shows is the Fefails knew from the beginning this man never wanted to commit to her.
That's
And
not true.
that's true because he wasn't married to her. If this man didn't marry you, then he never committed to you. So why are you giving your body to a man that hasn't committed to you yet?
You could marry him and he'll still cheat.
Yeah, but cheating is one thing, but if he's married to you and he hasn't divorced you, then no one created a broken home.
You're still a single mom.
You're not a single mom if you're married. What are you talking about?
When you get divorced, you're still a single mom.
Yes, because majority of these Fefails are the ones who initiate divorce.
And I've seen married single women.
No,
Believe it or not.
there's no such thing as a married single woman by law. By law, you're not a married single woman unless you're separated, or he's working overseas, or maybe he's working in the military and is out, doing what he needs to do. That's the only
he's
time.
Sitting there watching you do everything,
But that's not.
and not
But by
pitching
law,
in.
but Savage, by law, you're not a single mom if your husband is there present in the household. That will never make you a single mom. By law, by the law. You can't go to the court and say, oh, I'm a single mom because he just sits there and watches TV. That doesn't make sense.
Oh, sorry. You really can.
No, you can't.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, I disagree that single moms are destroying.
Of course you disagree because you don't care. You don't
I
care
do
about
care.
No, you don't, because if you did care, then you wouldn't disagree. You'll be like, you know what? It is true. They are destroying the community. Maybe we should teach women to have better standards. But you won't start there though, will you? You would say they will do anything to get out of the neighborhood and pursue rap. One of the
Okay,
most
so what do you
degenerate
call
industries
children-
that are ruining kids' minds today.
What do you call children at pew schools?
Degenerates.
Raised by two parents.
Oh my God, we just had this conversation. That's not the majority. Majority of criminals come from single mom households. That's why this prompt exists.
I just don't agree. I do not agree with that. I do not agree that it's single mothers that's ruining the community.
Yes, they are. Because in Western society, compared to every other nation, they have the highest single mom rate.
I don't think that's true either.
That is actually true. You said, I don't think. Just say you don't know. If you have to think about it, then you don't know.
Open your thing. I'm gonna show you. I'm finna show you. Hold on. Highest country with the single mothers rate.
No, we're not talking about the highest country. What are you talking about?
Didn't you just say that we have the highest country with the single mothers rate?
No, I said BOK Fefails have the highest single mom rate. Not the highest country. The highest single mom rate in the US and in the UK.
I don't know anything.
Of course you don't know. That's why I said you don't know.
And do you live in America?
No, I don't.
So how
live
are
in
you going to talk about something you don't live in? You're getting your information from the news.
I'm not getting my information from the news. That's the dumbest place. That's the dumbest thing to say. One, and I'm talking about Western. Hold on. I'm talking about Western society. Okay, Western society is bigger than the US. I know a lot of you BOK Fefails don't know that, but Western society doesn't just exist in the US. Okay, it's across UK and Europe. Now, where am I getting my information? If you take a look online and you take a look at CDC, you take a look at Pure Research, all of the sources are out there for you to do your own research, which clearly you don't do, because the first place you said is the news. Do I sound 10 to you?
But I know real life. I
Oh,
know
goodness
real
me.
life,
You
and I
know real
know
life. That
real
doesn't
life.
mean nothing, Savage.
The real life is I live around these same people that you're talking about. So I know real life. The news is skewed to
No one
make
is
us
getting
look
their
bad.
information on the news. I don't know why you keep mentioning.
Well,
You sound a little
where are
bit
you getting
old.
it
I
from?
mean, we're not in the 1950s where everyone gets their information on the news. Okay, we're in 2026 where we have
Internet,
access to
wherever. I
information. All
just
right,
said news.
okay. It sounds like he was
I
born
just said
yesterday.
news.
We get more information outside of television, okay? No one's getting their information on television anymore, okay? That we have access to books, we have access to the internet, we have access to governmental websites, not the news. It's not the 1950s anymore. It's a new
And it's
day.
all, listen, it's all skewed. It's all not correct. I'm trying to tell you.
And
I'm
you're
really trying to
delusional.
tell you.
You're delusional.
No,
Because
you're
the only
not.
thing,
I
the
know
only
I'm
thing,
not.
the only thing you've said is my experience. Your experience is useless. It's like a rich person saying, "Well, I've never been poor, so poverty doesn't exist." That's
I never.
absurd.
No, I never said that.
But that's what you
That's not.
said. You said you're talking about real life. Well, guess
You're
what?
getting
There
your.
are loads of
You're getting your
millionaires who
info.
have never, who
I'm not gonna
there are real
argue.
millionaires who have never been poor in their life. There are real millionaires that have never had to struggle for food. Does it mean poverty doesn't exist? Does it mean poverty isn't one of the biggest global issues?
And these same people have to do the same thing. We do not have assistance for parents. As you know, abortion is becoming
Oh,
illegal.
no, we're
So,
not using that word. Say AB.
oh
I'm going to
no,
have to drop you. Sorry. You can re-request, but we have to use TikTok friendly language. And you've been saying a lot of things, so I had to drop you. But we request if you want to.
Okay.
Ocean, welcome. Can you please address the prompt?
Yeah. So, I feel like it's not necessarily single moms that are destroying the BLK community. I feel like it's a combination of things. Yes, I think it is also contributing to it. Yes, but I don't believe that we should be just putting the whole blame and the whole weight of that onto BLK women when a lot of the time it is because of BLK men. One earlier you says that when the women generally initiate divorce. There are a bunch of reasons for that. So when it comes to especially single mothers, a lot of the time they have decided either the male has left the situation and decided to like not be involved in the child's life. Then there is also situations where there is certain sense of, I don't know what the TikTok word is, but use AB and add the
And
SU.
we don't talk about that. We don't, because that's not the majority. That's not the
It
majority.
is a very, very
It's not.
common thing. It is a
Yeah,
very common
saying
thing.
comment, but
Yes,
comment is not.
because
Hold on. Comment is not the majority. Okay,
yes, but there is, we have to
hold
acknowledge.
on, Ocean. It's not the majority. If you, in general, women that go through A, B, and DV, it's not even over 30%. And the divorce rates initiated by women in the UK is 60%. So that's
Yes,
not
because a lot of
that's not the majority. Okay, we have to go based off facts, or we can just say anything, really. Okay, it wouldn't. So we have to go based off facts. Majority of women are not initiating divorce over DV and SA.
because there is a reason for that. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. No, it doesn't matter if there's a reason for that. That's not the data that's been collected, okay? Unless you got some data that actually says, yes, about 40%, over 40% of BLK women are initiating divorce because their husbands were DV, SA, then I could be able to entertain this conversation. But I'm not going to entertain a conversation that I know is not collected by the data. I know it's not over 30% and it's not the majority. So we're talking about a very small issue. We need to talk about issues that are actually happening and that are actually the majority, which isn't
Okay,
victims.
what is the majority then? You tell me what you believe that what is
I
the
mean,
majority
don't you know? Because you're the one telling me, well, there's reasons why.
we're debating,
I know, but
and
I want to explore. I
hold
want to
on.
explore what you think. I will
Yeah, I
always tell
understand,
you.
but debating goes back and forth, darling. So what I'm saying to you is, yeah, you've come to me with a level of facts. So I'm asking you also another question. You've asked me a question. I've stated that okay, I'm taking it on board. Like I can ask you a question. I don't understand why it has to be a one-way conversation.
It's fine, don't worry. So the top reasons for divorces, the first one is I hate this word, irreconcilable differences. Basically, they have two differences. They
Yes.
can't get along. There's an actual word for it, but I struggle to pronounce it. And,
I know what you're saying. It's a hard to pronounce word at this point.
and then the second reason is infidelity. The third reason is financial difficulties in general. So that could mean many things. That could mean maybe she's making more money than him. Maybe he's not making enough money, or maybe they're both struggling to bring finances in the household.
So, I also want to bring forth to you there is a reason for a lot of people filing under other reasons, like irreparable differences under divorce law. So, when you go and you have to prove DV when it comes to you filing under DV. When you file under DV, you have to prove that to get the divorce. So, because of that, a lot of people do not file under that. They style under irreparable differences because they can just get divorced rather than having to wait and prove and go through trauma again and again and again. So there is we can't ignore the fact of why people do that and why this is a
Yeah,
thing.
I'm not ignoring that, but hold on, Ocean, hold on, hold on, wait, Ocean, hold on, Ocean. I'm not ignoring victims, but I don't talk about them.
You are
I just
ignoring them.
don't.
If you're saying you don't talk about them, you're
Yes,
ignoring them.
because hold on, Ocean. I'm not going to blame victims for the outcome. I'm talking about outside of victims and outside of widows.
Okay.
I was just trying to show you that that's not majority. That's not the main reason why. That's not the main reason why BLK females are becoming single moms.
So you believe that I'm just clarifying for you, clarifying so I get your point. So you believe that single females or single parents, what mothers, it's generally because of what they've just decided to not be with their baby father anymore.
Yeah. Outside of widows and outside of victims, which I don't talk about. I wouldn't. It would be absurd to, if we're actually honest. That wouldn't even be a debate anymore. That would just be a bit worrying. So outside of that, yes, they are choosing this. This is a choice.
So you said infidelity, because if even if you divorce or you decide to not be with your baby father anymore, that does not stop the baby father from having a relationship and co-parenting with another person. So I don't think that either way, whether you decide to not be with your baby father anymore or whether you get a divorce for your own reasons, because I feel like if two people are unhappy in a relationship or in a marriage, it is bad for the child as well because it also has problems with their
Welcome, PA.
mental,
This is
their
it.
mental.
Yeah, the father can still co-parent, but that still is still a broken home. See,
I
there's a
understand that, but that's not the
difference.
female's fault. Not all the
There's a
time it's
difference.
female's
There's a
fault.
difference when you have a two-parent household and a single-parent household. So whether the father is present or not present, it still destroyed the home, which essentially destroys the children.
I don't think so because I feel like you can have a you can have a healthy co-parenting relationship, and yes, technically you are a single parent. You're all you cannot be because you could be step parents or whatever not. But even though technically the two parents aren't together anymore, it's more about whether the child has a father figure in their life. That's what I feel like we're missing. A lot of the time, it's you're blaming single parents or single moms, where it's not. That's not the actual problem. The problem isn't the mom being single. The problem is the dad not being in the child's
That's not
life.
true. That's actually
That
not
is
that
that
the
is a
problem.
problem.
No,
That's
no,
why a
it's
lot
not.
of the
The
boys
problem
don't know
isn't
how
that
to be men.
you need to
That's why
understand.
they're
The
going
problem
out on the
isn't the
road. That's
the
why they're
problem.
going
The
out and
hold
going
on,
out and
ocean,
doing
ocean,
certain
ocean,
things.
ocean, ocean, ocean. The problem isn't just the fact that the father is not in the child's life. The problem is the inconsistency of not having a father live with you, not having a father be present with you all the time. That is what's wrong with that. See, a lot of these BOK Fefails, they will leave their children's father and think the child will still thrive in a household, but they don't, because they get more exposed to certain people that sees they don't have a father, that sees they're more vulnerable. I don't think you Fefails really understand how much a child needs their father.
I
And the
understand
child
how much a
and
child
the
needs their
child and the
father.
child is and the father is actually the baseline of discipline. Okay, fathers teach their daughters and their sons discipline. That is literally the baseline of what fathers do. You know, a mother doesn't really do that because the mother doesn't have what a man biologically has, which is why children just naturally will listen to their fathers a little bit more. Now, when you don't have a father in a household, you are going to have rebellious children. They're going to be more rebellious naturally because there's no one setting laws. You know, the father is what sets the laws in the house, technically.
I
So
don't
when he
think that.
take that out, the son and the daughter doesn't have that full time. And what also happens is other people can now influence the son because there's no mother in the house.
Now, I understand what you're saying. What I genuinely think is the problem, specifically for male children, is you can't have a woman teach a boy how to be a man. That's just it just doesn't work. So a lot of the time, I think when it comes to a, the father teaches a female child how she's the first emblem of what a man's supposed to be. So then they teach her how she's supposed to be treated by other males, how she is supposed to be, what a man is supposed to do for her. Those are the things that generally a male teaches his daughter. Yeah. And then with male teaching his son, he's showing him how to become a man, what you are supposed to do, what is a man supposed to be. And that is what a father teaches his son. Now,
Yeah,
what
we,
I
we
find,
understand that.
yeah, I understand that. I'm like, I'm not gonna ignore that and
A
say
lot of
that.
single moms do. That's the point. A lot of
I don't
single
think
moms ignore that factor and they choose to be selfish. That's the
I
problem.
don't think that's the majority though. That I like. As I said, I don't know that that's the majority, and I don't think anyone can say that that is the majority or that isn't the majority because at the end of the day, there's no data
It
on
is
what.
it is the
Hold on,
when it's a
hold on.
divorcee when it's if we're talking about divorces, it is the majority.
Pardon? Sorry, just
Well, if we are talking about women that have divorced, then yes, it is the majority.
okay. Because I feel like so you don't believe that having two adults in a household who have irreparable differences, yeah, because you have to remember you have to prove to the court that the differences are so big that it's going to be more damaging to stay in the household than to be separated. In irreconcilable differences, classy, you know what we're talking about.
I
Anywho,
understand. Don't
you have
worry.
to
Go on, just
prove
make your point.
yeah, you have to prove to the courts that the differences are so big that it would be more damaging for you to be together than apart for them to grant the divorce.
It's
So
really not that deep. Listen, Ocean, it's not
It
that deep.
is.
You just
It
hold
is.
on,
You have
Ocean,
to
Ocean,
prove
Ocean.
that
No, let me tell you why it's not that deep. Just get a good lawyer, okay? It's not that
to
deep.
get a good
It's
look,
it's really not that deep. If you just got a standard good lawyer that can be able to maneuver himself in and out of court, then it's simple. You can divorce. And it doesn't. And the truth is, you to divorce someone doesn't mean you're allowed to divorce. You know, it is not against the law to divorce. So if someone is unhappy, they can divorce. They just have to prove they're unhappy or whatever it is. But
yeah, you have
it
to prove
doesn't.
you're unhappy
It doesn't.
enough,
But it doesn't.
but
But
that
it
would be
doesn't. Hold on.
damaging.
No. But it doesn't have to be damaging for you to initiate divorce.
It
You can
does.
divorce. No, it doesn't. What happens is if you want to be able to maybe keep the house, if you want to be able to do, if you want more than just leaving, then that's when you have to start proving, well, it proves, maybe you need to say, well, I'm the one that takes care of the children, so I need the house. That's when you start needing proof. When you want more money, when you want the house, or if you want certain things paid for. But to just generally initiate divorce, you don't need proof for that. You don't need to prove that you want divorce. You can leave. It's not that complicated.
Okay. So you feel like people just get divorced for no reason now? Like just
No, that's no. Females divorce because they're selfish. It's not that there's no reason, it's that they're selfish.
so males don't like, because the reason why females are more likely to get divorced because they will do things generally the right way. They would want to separate and then go and do what they need to do. Whereas males, they'll do whatever they want to do within the marriage. So it's not the woman that's destroyed the marriage or destroyed the household. It's just that she's the one who's initiated the legal separation. But inside the household, a majority of the time, it is the male who's separated the household. Whether he's gone
And another
out,
thing as well, I was just checking, because even in the UK as well, you can also have a no fault divorce in the UK, in England and Wales.
yeah. But what I'm saying is, the reason why no fault divorces are there is because there's like it takes so much for the other reasons. Like if you go for a DV or stuff like that, it's hard. You have to prove it. In which a
But
lot of
that's the point. But that's the point. You don't have to prove anything to leave now. So
that's what I'm saying.
the reality is, we can say, oh, the marriage is this, the marriage is that. Listen, in life, nothing is always going to be 100%. And this is why I say females are selfish. Because when things start getting hard, that's when they choose to leave.
When things are getting hard. You know what it is? With males, generally, they have the more power in the relationship because generally they have the most of the financial power. Yeah. So inside the relationship, they it doesn't benefit the man in any way to get divorced. Generally, it doesn't benefit the man because for one, they generally have the money. They're just doing what they want to do in inside the marriage, whether that's they going out living with other women, doing other things, not being part of the actual family, taking care of their children, not being like actual parent or being present, because you can be married and not be present. So that's why when
See,
certain people were
yeah, but
saying,
this is it,
that's why
right?
when certain people,
I don't think it's not that it doesn't benefit men. What it is that men hold the keys to marriage, and men, honestly, what it's looking like today, men are actually just more loyal. Men, you see, men are logical, and men understand. Well, if I'm going to commit, I'm going to commit. That's why men are actually. That's why men are actually naturally more successful in society. When they talk about pay gap, it's not that there's a gender pay gap, it's that men are willing to withstand and endure until they get to success.
I don't
That's
believe
why
that's true.
no, that's true. No, that's true, because really think about it, right? Really think about it. Do you think it's random that majority of men are the ones who actually are able to succeed in society? Why do you think
No,
men? Why do you think men can be able to endure the hard jobs, the jobs that are painful, the jobs that are risky? Because men are naturally willing to just go in the deep end to be able to get a fulfilling outcome in the end.
biologically they
So
are.
the reality is, when it comes to marriage, they have the same mindset. They have the same mindset. Well, I committed to this, and I'm just going to endure this, and hopefully will come out better in the end, because that's what marriage is about.
No,
But
because I feel like
females don't want to go through that. They just want the man to serve her, make her happy no matter what. And if
okay, I
that
feel like
doesn't
now you're
happen,
being
no,
delusional
I'm
because
not
I
being
feel like
delusional, because that's what it's starting to look like.
no, because what it looks like generally, a lot of the reason why a lot of females do go for divorce is because the men generally don't pull their weight in any capacity in the relationship inside of the marriage. It's the woman who's also, they're like, nowadays, the woman works, the woman has to take care of the house, the woman takes care of the kids, the woman births the kids, all the household responsibility, also half of the financial responsibility also goes on the female, but then the male only goes out to work and then is taking 50%.
Women don't have to work. They don't have to work. They
No,
choose
yes,
to.
they do. That's
No,
what
they
we're
don't.
talking about
No, that's not true.
society-wise.
That's not true. No,
How
that's
many
not true.
households?
Let me tell you.
No, because that's why we had that cost of living crisis. We're quite literally in a point.
You don't
in
have to work.
society-
You don't have to work.
Yes,
You don't
they
have
do.
to work. And
Yes,
if you
they
do have to work,
Hold
work
on,
at
because-
home. But you
hold
don't
on, let me
have to
finish my
work.
point. Let me finish my point. Yeah, they do have to work because right now we're in such a financial state in the Western world, period, where a one parent household cannot
No, they
cannot
can.
pay for no pay for everything. The general one parent household or even like a family of four generally cannot withstand.
See, a family of four. So this is why I say it's a choice, okay? Because you don't have to work. Now, when you get married, you have to make a choice. How many children do we want to have, and how many children can we be able to provide for? Now, if you know damn well that there isn't enough money, then cap it at 2. Cap it at 1.
that's what I'm saying,
Don't
even
push at 4. But hold on.
No,
so
a
wait.
household
But
of four,
Ocean.
two parents and two
Ocean. No, you don't
children.
have. No. One parent. The mother doesn't have to work. Now, if she's choosing to have more children, that's a choice. You can't get mad at the fact now that finances.
no
You can't
kids.
get mad at the fact now that finances are getting a bit more tighter when you was willing to push out more children.
Okay, but even with 0 kids on one salary, yes, on one salary, no kids, and you are sharing a house or sharing a flat or whatever not, even then,
Yes, you can. In the yes, you can. Especially in the UK, you can. Yes, you can. Easily, you can. Yes.
On the general rent,
Yes, and a general rent, and a
will
general.
not be
If
able
you're,
to accommodate.
yes, you can. In general rent, you can. You know, London is not the only place that you can live in the UK.
I'm not from London. I'm not talking about London.
So then you generally can in the UK. 100% you can. It's easy. And the worst part is you can also build something while you are doing that. If you want to have some type of financial freedom, maybe you want to build a business, whatever it is, you actually can do that. But what it is a lot of you Fefails are not willing to sacrifice. So for example, are you willing to not go out to eat as much? Are you willing not to have the nicest car, the nicest Range Rover, the nice Mercedes and all these things? Are you willing to cut back on certain things? Are you willing to not always have to buy new clothes, new weave? Are you willing to cut out all your makeup? No more makeup. Do your nails naturally. Do your hair naturally now. No more trying to look like anything. Leave the aesthetic alone. No more aesthetics. No more trying to look like something you ain't on Instagram. No more going on these random holidays. Go on holiday for once a year. Go out to eat once a month. No makeup. All hair natural. Stay on a budget when it comes to what you want to wear. And I'm sure you can stay one size for a long time unless you're eating like crazy, then that's a problem. So yeah, you can definitely do it, but you BLK Fefails don't want to do it. You don't want to make those sacrifices. You don't want to stop buying the weave. Don't want to stop buying the makeup. Don't want to stop getting your nails done. Don't want to stop going out to eat every Friday. You want to get the best car. You want to go to the best holidays. This is why a lot of you BLK Fefails are a bunch of brokies today anyways.
I'm just calculating something so you can carry on. What's that times?
Okay, Mika, welcome. Can you please address the prompt? Before you do that, before you do that, I'm just gonna acknowledge the super chat real quick. Thank you, Derwin Walker, sent $5 US. Princess, keep up the energy to assist women. Thank you. I appreciate you and your support. And someone else sent a $9.99 super thanks from Air King. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, go ahead, Mika. Can you please address the prompt?
I can, but I respectfully ask that you let me get my point out, please, respectfully.
No, you don't ask me to do anything. If I want to interject, I will. But I will let you speak at least, a good amount of times for us to get information. But when I feel like it's getting a bit stagnant or you're not making a lot of good points, I am going to attack them. but I will allow you throughout the conversation to at least speak.
Single mothers are destroying the BLK community. No, they're not, because we have to be, if we're going to have this conversation, we have to be 100% authentic. There are a lot of reasons that there are single mothers. And we have to break it open when we talk about single mothers. Let's talk about the essay. And let's talk about those
We
women.
are not talking about that. No, Mika. We're not talking about women that's going through essay. Like, what is
Can
wrong
I
with you,
finish,
Fefails?
please?
No. I have rules on my life. We're not talking about
you're
victims.
stupid.
Yeah, you're clearly stupid. Because all you Fefails can do is use victims to prove your point. And that's really sad.
Okay, we're going to go another route then. Let's talk about marriage. Let's talk about, you talked about irreconcilable differences. You talk about financial differences. But let's talk about the men who just gave up. Let's talk about that. Let's talk
what
about
does
the
that
men
mean?
who
What
said
does
that
that mean?
they weren't willing to stay in that marriage. Let's talk about that.
What does that mean? I'm trying to ask you, Mika,
destroying families, we have
hold
to talk
on.
about that as
I'm
well.
asking you a
Because
question.
there are so many men who claim they want to be married,
Are you
but they
tone
don't.
deaf? This is why no
they're
one's
not
marrying
capable
BOK
and willing
Fefails,
and
because you don't
able to be
listen.
married.
You're all hard-headed. This is why no one is marrying you. This is why
Okay, I feel like
It is sad that women like you
This is
want
why no one is marrying BOK Fefails.
It
Because I'm
is
trying
sad
to
that
ask
women
you
like
a question.
It is sad that women like you want to cater to these.
No, it is sad that you're tone deaf.
I feel like, come on now, like I feel like getting to a point where you're generalizing everyone.
I'm not generalizing.
and
This
you-
is it.
oh,
She's
hold on, you
proving.
did just- you
She's
did- hold on,
proving.
hold on. You
She's
did just say to
proving
everyone, That's why
why.
nobody's marrying you guys.
Yes,
why
that's
nobody's
true.
doing it.
It's true.
But you're
BOK
generalizing.
Fefails. I'm not
And then you're
generalizing.
ignoring
It's
the fact
not.
that you're generalizing.
I'm not generalizing because if you actually take a look at the stats, BOK Fefails have the lowest marriage rates.
Okay,
So I'm
then,
actually
but what
pointing.
I'm saying,
So I'm actually
generalizing
pointing
because that's a
out
general-
why.
that's a
I'm actually
general.
pointing. It's not general. It's the truth. No one's marrying BOK Fefails today. There's a reason. That's not a coincidence. And
Okay,
I
but
was
you're
trying to
saying-
ask her. I was trying to question her on what she said because she said, "Let's talk about the men that give up." So I wanted to ask her, what does that mean to you? What does it look like for a man to give up? And because she's so triggered, she just goes on and on and on. And it's just like, this is what men are dealing with. This is why men are not marrying you BOK Fefails. Because when you get triggered to a point where you're just illogical. This is what men are dealing with. So when especially like in normal relationships and marriages, I can't imagine being married to someone like that, and you're having a disagreement, and they just go on and on and on and on. No wonder they're cheating. They need a peace of mind. I'm being real, and I don't even agree with cheating. But being in that type of environment where you can't even have a healthy disagreement is crazy. You wonder why men are stepping out? Maybe they want a peace of mind.
Okay, I feel like one thing with you are also contributing to that. If I'm gonna be real with you, we're being real here. Because at multiple times in this conversation, you've cut people off. You started yelling
Because
at them.
I'm the host. Listen,
Yeah, but I'm saying- you're saying
Ocean,
you're-
I can interject. Just get over it. I'm the host. I'm allowed to
No, but
interject.
that's what I'm saying. You're saying you're showing exactly what you're talking about.
Ocean, I'm the host. Okay, you're in my
that doesn't
live.
make
You're in my live, so I'm going to interject to challenge your point.
Okay,
I just wanna say
That's the
that-
point. Do you understand? If I was on your live, Ocean, if I was on your live, because I go on other people's live. Do you know how many people? Do you know how many times the host interjects me? I'll be like, okay, I mute, and then I speak.
I just want to say,
And then I'm mute.
I
It's
do
very
not
easy.
argue.
You're not. This is not my first radio, so I understand. Like when you on someone else's live, just follow their rules. But you Fefails struggle to do that.
Wait, who's?
And I just want to say
not following-
that
no,
I
hold
am
on.
married. I am happily married. So, I get that there are going to be disagreements. I get that. That is natural. That is part of a relationship.
So Mika, I was
But what-
asking you a question. Okay, I was asking you a simple question before you went on a spiral.
I didn't because you wouldn't let me finish.
No, because you said you want to go a different route, and you said, let's talk about the men who just give up. And then when I said, let me ask you a question, what does it look like when a man gives up?
What does it look like when a man gives up? Okay, let's go there. Let's go there. When a man gives up, they walk out on their children. They walk out on the commitment that they made before God, most importantly, and then themselves. That's what it looks like when a man gives up. You
When you
know,
say they walk out on their children, what, initiate divorce?
sometimes, we talk about irreconcilable differences, and that's a big part of it. But sometimes I think a lot of men feel like they want to be married, but then they also feel trapped. You know, it is. I won't even say because they want the cake and want to eat it too, but some men just don't have that framework for marriage, if that makes sense. Sometimes a woman can want to be married so much that that man feels pushed into marriage, if that makes sense.
Okay, but
So,
Mika, but majority of men don't initiate divorce. Now, if majority of men did initiate
and they
divorce,
don't. And you're right, they
hold
don't.
on.
They
So
don't. They don't.
that would change
But
the
when a woman
conversation.
sees,
But
but
they're
when a
not.
woman
So men are.
sees,
Hold on, Mika. So when you're saying men are walking out their marriages, they're literally not. They're staying in their marriages. Now, wherever the issues are going on with a marriage, that's what marriage is. You're going to have issues. But it's the women who choose to walk out because they don't want to deal with the issues anymore. Men aren't doing that.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
Can I just
we're not
can
gonna
I
talk
just give
about marriage. Let's
give
talk
some
about
percentages?
let's go here. Let's talk about these
It's
younger
open
women.
panel. Let Ocean say something. She wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I just wanted to talk about some percentages generally. Without divorce, even though it's not, it has to go unrecognized data because there's a percentage. It's not something that's recorded generally, right? So this is estimated roughly, but generally, men walk out on their house, on their marriages, move by moving out of the house without filing for divorce or separation about 60% of the time. Now, this is a percentage. I can what's called acknowledge the fact that this is a general because it doesn't go recorded because it's not filed under, anything like divorce or separation papers, right? They would leave their house and move out of their home, their marital home, around 60% of the time. It's
That
not
does the
irrelevant because
that
it's
doesn't that doesn't make sense because 60% of women initiate
yeah.
divorce. So you're saying that's the whole entire reason in itself?
No, I'm not saying that it's the entire reason. If it's 70%, but I'm saying that they would walk out on their households without filing for divorce. So they're not filing for the divorce. They're just basically going elsewhere and they're staying married. Legally, are they still married? Yes. Legally, are they separated? No. But they have left the marital home. They've walked out on their family. They have left the household.
Okay. They did not divorce.
They did not divorce, but they have left their family. They have left. So whether the woman then initiates divorce after that, like either way, they are not involved. They're not still when it comes to the children. They are not in the house, as you said is the problem. They're not in the house. They don't live with their father. They do not. They're not working on their marriage. Then and they're not generally. They're not involved in their child's life. So those when it comes to the marital home, it's not just women leave initiate divorce and so it's their fault because if the man's left the home, he's left everything, and generally if he decides to stop financially contributing, the only way for the woman to get some sense of financial control back in that is to divorce a lot
But
of the
that's
time.
not but that's not true. Because it says the
How is it
most
not?
common ground facts proven for opposite divorces for females it was unreasonable behavior.
Yeah, on irreparable differences, yes, which
Yeah,
someone can file under.
under that, it doesn't say men are leaving. It says unreasonable behavior.
Yes, because
About
if you file, do you understand that if you file under other things, you have to, you do still have to prove that. You have to prove that.
Yeah, but it doesn't
So for
say.
men
But it
to leave
doesn't.
the
But it doesn't. It
house,
doesn't
the
say
men
that
to
they're
leave the
leaving the
house,
house. It
they
says
have to,
about. It doesn't say that they're
because
leaving the
that's not
house.
a reason under divorce. That's
But it
not a
doesn't. It
reason.
doesn't. It
It's
doesn't
not a
say
reason.
that
Oh,
they're
he left
leaving. It
the
doesn't
house and
say
that's
that
why
they're
we're
leaving the
divorcing.
house. It just says the most
That's
common
not reason to
ground
leave.
is unreasonable behavior.
Exactly. And what's
Yeah, but that
leaving the
doesn't.
house
But it doesn't
unreasonable
say leaving the
behavior?
house, though. It does not say
Because
leaving the
that's not
house.
a legal
Listen, it doesn't. It
principle.
doesn't
That is
say
not a
that,
legal
though. Hold on.
principle.
It doesn't
It's
say
not a
that.
legal principle.
It
That's
doesn't
why.
matter if it's not. Listen, hold
It
on.
does
No,
matter
it
because
does.
that's not a
It does.
legal.
No. Ocean, no shouting. Okay. If I'm reading this, it says the most common ground for opposite divorces for female petitioning was unreasonable behavior. Now, they would have stated the man left, the man separated. It said unreasonable behavior. So clearly, majority of these men are at home.
When you file under divorce, right, there are certain it's options. It's not everyone can put a different reason. You put it under one reason and then you have to explain why, right? It doesn't specify, oh, this person left the house. That's not going to be a reason. It's not a legal principle, right? So there wouldn't be a way for that to work. So you can file under fine, like if he's not contributing financially, you can put finance or whatever reasons you can put under financial burdens or whatever the word is. Yeah, you can put under
And it's still not
You can
true.
also,
It's
hold
still
on, you
not
can
true.
still,
Men are not
no,
leaving the houses. They're not.
okay. Well, the data that I've got says otherwise.
It literally says unreasonable behavior. Unreasonable behavior. This is slightly higher than 2020. Was the ground reason for over 40% of them doing that.
But in reasonable behavior, that would fall under unreasonable behavior. Moving out of the marital home is
But it
unreasonable
doesn't
behavior.
state. It doesn't state that though. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. If you're actually using a .gov, it doesn't state any of that.
Okay.
So unless you're on some .com, then yeah. But on governmental websites where it's backed up by the government, it doesn't say that.
Also, one of the things that I wanted to bring up as well, the general UK salary is 40,000 after tax. That's 32,200 after tax a year. The general cost of living is between 30,000 and 50,000. So that's for a general of a couple with one person working. Because earlier when we was talking, you said before any children, you said that generally the cost of living isn't that bad where you can't survive and can't survive and you can still build while you're doing that. The cost of living, just of living, not with
Yeah,
additional stuff.
people are doing that. YT, really think about it, right? YT, do you know that the single mom rate is only high in the BLK community? Now, do you think the cost of living crisis is not affecting YTs and Asians?
I do believe it's affecting
Okay,
them.
then. And how come they're still able to do it?
I gotta pose a question.
What's the
So, do you
question?
think that women just wake up one day, the average married woman just wakes up one day and decides she doesn't want to be married no more, and oh, I'm gonna go to file for a divorce? I mean, let's be realistic. There has to be some kind of background that gets that woman to that point or that level. Those irreconcilable differences. So, when you say that, hey, the women are the ones who initiate the divorces, that may be true and real. But there is a reason. I don't think there's a woman that actually wants to be a single mother. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. I don't think that there's actually a woman who says,
I
"Oh, I'm going to
disagree
have a
with that.
child by a man, but I want to be a single mother." I mean, let's be realistic about that. I
You're
mean,
being realistic
so
about that. A lot of females today believe they can do better without a man. So
and that's true because a lot of women do hold their own ground. Let's be honest.
they
A
don't do
lot of
better
women
than a
do
man
hold
though.
their own ground,
But they don't do better. But they don't do better. No, women generally speaking don't do better financially or well, I wouldn't really say academically, but they don't do better financially, in employment, all the things that actually matter, because your education isn't going to actually pay you. So they're not doing better. They think they can, they think they will. I'm not saying some. There are some that just wake up one day and say, I don't want to be married anymore. That's where you say, I wasn't happy, I wanted something new, or maybe we just don't get along anymore. Yeah, you are technically just waking up one day and saying, I don't want to be married. But a lot of these females are selfish. They are selfish. That is the driving force to them choosing to be a single mom. Is a lot of these BLK females are selfish. They don't care about their home. They don't care about their community. They care about their own yash.
Okay, if you're saying that they care about themselves and care about that, like, why would I get divorced then? Because don't you think that the females would just do what they want to do within the marriage? They can go out.
Yes, but then this.
As you're saying, nobody's chaining them, so then they can continue to go out, go get whatever man they want to do. They can go get whatever. Why would they become single parents? They can just go and do what they want to do.
Let me tell you why. Because females can't. Let me tell you why. Because females can't endure it when a man does it. That's the truth. Okay. So
Are you okay?
I'm being serious. They can't. They can't. So it's like it's easy. It's easy to take it. It's easy to do than to take.
So you think that there's more females that are out here being unfaithful, that are doing what they want to do, than there are males?
It's easier to do what you want without the grounds of having someone there, because then that alleviates guilt. It alleviates accountability. You know, but you also have to be smart, to some extent you have to be smart. And they were smart enough to get married. They're not like these single moms who don't get married. They were smart enough to get married. So they're somewhat, to extent, are smart enough to leave a marriage so that they can do whatever they want without being seen as problematic. Let's not act like women aren't emotionally manipulative, are incapable of twisting things to make it seem like it's one thing or the other. Women actually do this a lot. So the reality is they are going to initiate divorce to alleviate any guilt, problems, and be able to do what they wanted without anyone telling them about themselves. Now, if you stay in a marriage and do that, then clearly you're going to be the problem. People say, stick it through, learn how to do this, learn how to do that. But they don't want to do that. They just want to do whatever they want to do without the man.
Do you believe it's hard being a single parent?
Yes, I do believe it's hard being a single parent.
Okay, so you believe it's hard. Do you believe it's harder than enduring a marriage, being a single parent, enduring a marriage that you're not happy with, or getting told about yourself, should I say, as we said?
Yeah, are you saying, is it harder to be in a marriage that you're unhappy with than being a single mom?
Yeah, or even being, because technically you can be a parent and do what you want, and as you said, the females don't want to be told about themselves, and they don't want to be seen like they're wrong. Don't you think that being told that you're wrong is easier?
It would be easier to be a single mom. Yes, it would naturally be easier. But then for married women, when they leave, they do get a cut of a man's salary, and if they have a house, they keep the house. So they don't actually face. They do to some extent will have some similarities to what the children may endure. But when it comes to like finances and house, that's already kind of sorted without governments being involved and et cetera, et cetera. So they kind of get a piece of the pie, while the women who aren't married, they're just all the way in struggle land.
Okay, so if the people who aren't married, they know that they're going to be in struggle land, because at the end of the day, they know that they are financially not okay. So why do you think that people would put themselves in that situation?
Because they love the D. Yeah, the ones that have never been married, yeah, they just love being community boxes.
So
And they will take a risk. Yeah,
You
they
think
will take a
most
risk.
single
Yep,
parents
they will.
are just
Yes,
community D?
yes, yes, yes. They
I
they
can't
will
like
take the risk. They will take the risk of getting pregnant just to get an orgasm.
no, the risk of getting okay,
Yes, it's true.
having
Yeah, you
having
if you're
having
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 intercourse, you're risking getting
yeah,
pregnant.
yeah, true, fair
So
enough.
so that's
But
the risk.
I'm
So
no
they
no no,
know
but I'm
they know
saying
they know they know this man is not my husband. This man is not my husband. He may not even be my boyfriend. He hasn't even tried to marry me. Maybe he may do the talk, but he ain't actually doing it. So every time you're laying down in bed with him, I'm gonna risk getting pregnant just so he can nut inside me.
okay, so you believe in abstinence until marriage, and then you
I believe if you're gonna have intercourse with no ring on your finger, be prepared to be a single mom.
so it's just her responsibility. I feel like you're putting all the responsibility on the female, where it also takes two to tango. I'm saying that if the woman's going to take responsibility and have the child and take responsibility of having that child, so should the man. So the man should then. I feel like we've got one side of the coin without having the other. Like back in the day, a woman used to be shamed for having premarital intercourse or whatever not you want to call it, but also the blame would be put on the man. You decided to do that, so you now either have to marry her or you have to take care of her and the child. But there is not that type of morals put in place nowadays. It's just, oh well, you
It's
decided to
true
lay down. You
that
decided to
more.
lay down, so that's your fault. And
Hold
it's
on.
I feel like we have to have one side of the coin while we are also having the other side of the coin. I feel
Okay,
like you
it's
need
true.
to you
It's
need
true
to
what
put
you
the blame on the
said.
man as well.
It's true what you said. That moral input no longer exists. Do you know why? Before I even say do you want to know, do you know why that moral in place is not put in is no longer being used in today's societies? Saying when a man impregnates a woman and he will be forced to marry her or shamed. And he can't be forced to marry someone. I mean, he's really being shamed, What kind of man are you? Why don't you marry her? You impregnate, they will shame you and maybe even outcast you. What do you think changed? Why do you think that doesn't happen anymore?
Because what women work. What like
Pardon?
what go on? Like I'm curious.
You just so you don't know really.
No, never claimed to know.
Okay then, that's fine. So it's the second wave of feminism is what changed everything. The first wave made a big difference. They can own houses, they can get jobs, and they can have their own bank, But the second wave of feminism is what allowed these Fefails to be sexually liberated, is when contraception happened, is when you can have an AB, which is really unaliving unborn babies, is when you're able to not be judged in the same light anymore. So now you can be promiscuous, you can show your nyash, and yeah, some people call you a 304, but you can say, yeah, I'm a baddie, and what? It's not the same. So when Fefails chose to be sexually liberated, it also gave a lane for men to be liberated.
But men were
Because
already liberated. That's the
no, no,
point.
no, no,
They
no, no,
were
no, that's
because
not
even
true. No, that's
it
not
was
true. Because
because
really think about it
hold
like
on.
this. That's not true.
The
Because
only way a man would
because
be
no,
caught, the
that's
only
not
way a
true.
man would
Because
be
you
caught is
just
if he got
stated, hold
pregnant.
on. You just stated that back then men were shamed into marrying the single mom. So you
Yes,
can't say they
but
were
what I'm
already.
saying,
So then how was
it was
he? So
very
then how was
general.
he? So then how was he liberated if he was shamed and outcasted if he didn't marry the woman he impregnated? That doesn't
Because
make any sense.
hold on, let me explain to you. They were in a sense they liberated way more than they were the females. For men, the problem was that how dare you have done this to this woman? It was known that men go out and they do what they do. It's been going since the dawn of time. But once you get a woman impregnate the woman,